Welcome to a very special multi-stream, multi-channel OG55. If you're watching this on Theme Park Wizard, Capture the Magic, or Conductor, welcome to OG55. Today we're talking all about that Universal Studios Hollywood. Man, there is a huge expansion plan for this park, which means maybe Waterworld will go, maybe not. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down. Up next on OG55. Let's go. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55 Live. I got Wizard, I got Jared, and Conductor in the house with me today. We're talking all about Universal. We're taking your questions, your comments. But before we get started, we got the one and only Mr. Wizard in the house. How you doing, Wizard?
I'm feeling spooky.
What's going on? So where can everybody find you on social media, sir, if they're not watching from the Theme Park Wizard channel?
You can find me on Theme Park Wizard. You can find me on Twitter, like I'm streaming on Twitter right now, Park Wizard 1. You can find me on my website, themeparkwizard.com, for cool stories, reviews, and more. And I just launched a brand new discussion forum, so post all your cool updates from all parks around there. And you can book your trip to any of these theme parks we're talking about with me right here. Follow me on Instagram because I'm actually really been posting on Instagram. OG knows because he likes how I post. I really been trying to up my Instagram game, and I think I'm doing a pretty decent job.
You are, and I do like all your posts because I like to support our family here. And Wizard, you and I we got in this YouTube game around the same time. We've been on the journey together. And it's together. Jared, Capture the Magic is back. Always good to see you, Jared. How you doing, brother?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing good. It's kind of fallish here. It has been 90 degrees in like 3 days. I'm enjoying this is cooler weather for Florida at this time of year. So I'm enjoying September thus far.
Nice. Where can everybody find you on social media, Jared?
Cap the Magic everywhere. Keep it pretty simple. And if you want theme park news, reviews, and stuff like that, you can check out CTM Podcast with my wife and I. But Cap the Magic is where you find us on social medias. So easy enough to just do it there.
There is.
Okay, so that's your wife. I don't know who that girl was. I thought it was your friend or like co-host.
Well, we are friends and co-hosts, but yeah. 15 years in the 18th of this month, actually. So.
Oh, Lord. Congratulations.
I feel old. I'm like, I thought I just got married a couple of years ago, and yeah, it's time's mean.
Time flies.
No.
And we got the one and only Mr. Choo Choo, loving that caboose. Mr. Conductor, how you doing, bro?
I want to see my caboose.
Oh, well. Jared, don't start. I'm
my hands are free.
Wizard, or I'm Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on... false start. I'm Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok at Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on X at Theme Conductor. You can also find me every Sunday on Conductor Sunday live stream, where we talk everything about Universal, Disneyland, everything theme park news, and we have all these amazing gentlemen once in a while on the show where we break stuff down. Jared's kind of in timeout, but I won't get into that. We have a lot of fun talking just everything theme park. So come and join and have a bunch of fun with discussion. And I can see that OG has already highlighted my partner in crimes post. Tommy Toon World's in the house.
There it is, Mr. Tommy Toon. Tommy Toon. Well, thank you, Conductor, for joining the show today. We're going to dive into this. We have a lot of news today all about Universal. Now, look, this is courtesy of KTLA. Now, before I dive into the meat and potatoes, it looks like somebody we know was referenced in this article, Mr. Theme Park Wizard right here.
Oh, who is that?
It's interesting, right, Wizard?
And I wonder who that guy is.
I wonder too. He seems like a really nice guy, but it says here, planning documents raise questions about the fate of the Waterworld show at Universal Studios Hollywood. And then down here, it says the possibility of losing Waterworld has sparked strong reactions among theme park fans. The Stunt Spectacular, which opened in 1995, crazy, remains a popular destination for visitors. Theme park blogs creators such as Theme Park Wizard have also weighed in on the future of Waterworld. Well, Mr. Wizard, a lot of people have talked about this, right? I did a video with George the other day about this. I know, Jared, you've done it, Conductor. We all talked about this. This is really big news. But you and I had a conversation via text the other day, and it might not be so bleak for Waterworld after all. You want to go ahead and elaborate on that?
Oh, yes. Okay, so if you go back up to that map there, and then I don't know if you can blow it up or zoom in, but either way, this map, this is the NBC Evolution Plan. This was approved. This is Universal's version of Disneyland Forward, right? Except this one was approved in 2013. So this is a 25-year guideline. So was it 2013 plus I was like 2038 or whatever, 2040, call it. That is when this will be updated. So this is when this was approved, except this initial map and the initial studies that came was from 2006. This is what's going on here. So this map is from 2006. Now, for the purposes of this permit, now this literal permit is for that yellow building, which is a tech services building, which is under construction right now on the next to the ET parking structure. Now, in the attachment, now Universal usually hides all this stuff, but someone accidentally left it up for 2 weeks, and we saw the attachment, and in the attachment was the evolution plan, or they call it a specific plan in LA County planning terms, and this was just showing the tech services building in like its placement on the property. The rest of the plan is from 2006, and only some of it was updated. And the rest of it is kind of copied and pasted, didn't really touch. There's shaded buildings, and those are the only ones Comcast touched in the approved plan. These shaded buildings here, because all the shaded buildings in the legend say are already there or are approved projects. So they have to update the plan for approved projects, and they probably submit this same map in every single permit. But like I said, they hide those, so we don't have access to those, so we don't get to see this all the time.
Right.
But for these projects, they probably put in this map, and they probably updated with each one approved. And on the approved one, it's hard to see here, but you can see there's many projects, including the hotel on the by the entrance there is an approved project, and that's why it's not labeled, but it's actually shaded there. Now the rest of it's, like I said, everything's in dots, like the Waterworld and all the proposed stuff. That's part of the original 2006 guide map. Now, don't forget, in 2006, MCA, I believe, MCA Entertainment owned Universal. So when MCA basically proposed this map 20 years ago, and it's actually it's almost like historic, because you can see their idea for their guide map for the park is they wanted it kind of to be like really have the studio take over. There's a lot of studio facilities proposed there on the lower lot, and some new studio tour attractions, and you can see they're kind of shrinking the theme park by replacing Waterworld and stuff like that. But then obviously Comcast bought it, and many things of this plan already changed. Like the hotel location changed, and some other things like Harry Potter, wasn't on this first evolution plan. That changed too. So things have already changed. We all know Comcast is more like theme park focused. So, that's why I think I'm pretty sure Waterworld is okay, because that was part of the map that Comcast didn't update. It's not like Disneyland Forward. Disneyland Forward, they're presenting it to the city, but they made it as much more of a big deal. Like they're presenting it to us too, like the fans, and like this is what we can do and all that. They showed concept art, and there's blog posts here. This was again hidden in a permit that really wasn't supposed to be, shown to the public, just to LA city planners, literally about this tech service building. So they didn't have to update the rest of the map because they're not showing it to us. They left the old MCA studio focused map because that's because there was no need to update it. Again, it's not like a D23 presentation where they're showing, okay, fans, this is the future of our property.
Right.
Because I have I don't say credible or good, but I have a pretty decent authority that on the lower lot sound stages expansion, theme park expansion will happen, as well as maybe the Falls Lake one. But on this map, you can see the lower lot sound stages are going to be or be proposed to be torn down, but for more like studio stuff. But that's not the case, at least since Comcast bought it. So, like I said, I wouldn't put too much like umph into this map, because also, I mean, if they were to take this map super literally, like everything were going to happen, this map shows that in the City Walk section on the legend, I think it's like under C3, you see the words New Tour Plaza Retail. Now that suggests that the studio tour in this map, the studio tour would be not a theme park attraction. It would be separate and it would be accessed from City Walk, effectively cutting the theme park in half.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Which they did have surveys about a few years ago, but I think they saw the reaction that they're like, "Ooh, maybe we should make we shouldn't make an upcharge attraction." But this map suggests that that's happening. But since the map is so old, that's what MCA was thinking of doing even back 20 years ago. So, like I said, Waterworld will be pretty good unless they make like a new show somewhere else. Then I think Waterworld will be pretty good for now.
Yeah, well said, Wizard. I appreciate that. Yeah, this is cool. I mean, really good to hear, because Waterworld is one of those shows, man, where it's like this has become an icon of this park. I was talking to George D'Italiano on a video we recently did. It's almost like Universal Hollywood's Fantasmic. It's a mainstay. You got to keep Waterworld. And here, to Universal's credit, under the Comcast leadership, Comcast has not shied away from nostalgia. They're leaning hard into it. We just got a brand new, amazing land in Epic Universe based on the classic Universal monsters. There's a lot of rumor. There's a lot of talk about, Back to the Future attraction coming to the UK park, and maybe even down here in Hollywood. Who knows? In Florida, FanFest was all about Back to the Future. So it seems like Universal is really starting to realize, hey, you know what? Disney has done a great job at sort of like cultivating its nostalgia and really utilizing that. And why don't we do the same? We have some great IP too. We have, Back to the Future, all these great franchises. Why don't we lean into that? Comcast has been very smart with that. So it makes sense, Wizard, what you're saying. Like, I really can't see Comcast getting rid of Waterworld. Not to say Waterworld is a great IP or a real relevant IP in and of itself, but the show itself is such a beloved thing, and Comcast isn't tone deaf. They really do. They do have a good sense of what fans are wanting, and I was shocked, honestly, when I heard the rumor initially. I was kind of shocked because it seems so out of character for what Universal right now is currently doing. So great news, and I'm confident that it's going to stick around. But Jared, go ahead, Wizard, before we go to Jared.
Well, I was going to say, it's also, like you said, not only those good points, but keep in mind, Waterworld, the stage is not just used for Waterworld, right? It's used for the Purge Dangerous Waters for Halloween Horror Nights, and rumors have it'll be used for the One Piece stunt show and for FanFest nights. So there's multiple uses besides just Waterworld, making it even more valuable to Comcast in the near term for sure. Until, like I said, unless they get another show venue somewhere, but they don't have any other show venue. So they definitely, I'm sure, will be keeping Waterworld for a while. War of the Worlds, though, that one, for the people who care about going on that of the studio tour, that may be removed pretty soon via an actual new permit for a grading project in the area. So if you care about seeing War of the Worlds on the studio tour, go take the tour next time at Universal.
Okay, all right. Well, Jared, what are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts? Waterworld, there was a lot of buzz. You heard it all on social media. This thing might go away. Wizard kind of, he laid it out like this. Probably not. You know what I'm saying? This is old stuff that we're looking at here pre-Comcast. Are you pretty confident that Waterworld is here to stay?
I probably don't know enough to have a solid opinion, but I have heard. I mean, it's a great show. I've seen clips of it, or I've taken the actual show, and everybody that goes out there says it's great. Which is weird, like you were saying. The movie, well, I don't remember much about the movie. I know Kevin Costner was in it. Him and they had the Postman at the same time, I think, or around the same time. But I mean, from everything I've seen, I've talked to you guys and everything. It's a staple of the park. So I would be surprised if they got rid of it, just considering there's probably other things that you could add to that park to bring in more people, which I think would be the goal if you're looking to do extra things in a park. So getting rid of something, considering, I think would you agree that Hollywood is like a locals park for the most part?
Actually, it's kind of funny. I used to be of that mindset, but I've been going a lot now, like almost every weekend. And I see actually more international guests there than I do at Disneyland now.
Really? Okay.
Which is really surprising. Now, Wizard, you're there a lot too. And Conductor, you're there pretty often as well. But like, I mean, am I off base, Wizard, with this? I mean, I feel like it's pretty well visited by tourists. And it's kind of surprised me, to be honest with you, because I used to have that more locals mindset. But have you noticed that too, Wizard? Or
yeah, I mean, I hear lots of different languages. Even during Horror Nights. Well, during Horror Nights, it's more like locals. But when I go in the daytime, I usually hear lots of different languages. And again, like I said, pre-COVID, especially, I saw lots of Asian tourists. And those, like I told you, OG, those big tour buses of like 50 people coming out. It was insane. So yeah, a lot of different languages. Probably stopping at Universal the next day doing Hollywood stuff, whatever they like to do over there. But definitely locals, but also lots of tourists as well.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Conductor, what are your thoughts on this, man? Wizard really laid it out. I mean, he makes a good case. It doesn't seem like Waterworld's going anywhere. Does this make you feel better about the situation? Did you want to see Waterworld go away? What are your thoughts, Conductor?
So my thoughts are, I'm so glad that Waterworld will not be going away. I'm even more excited that Wizard can kind of clarify that the map we've been talking about, everyone's been talking about for the last couple of days, is very old. The only thing that I'm curious about is, because looking at the evolution plan, and I think, Wizard, you might have pointed out on one of your live streams or videos, was that they had a proposed area where that one of the security hubs is where that H lot is, where 2 Halloween Horror Nights houses sit for this year's event, which is Terrifier and Poltergeist. Is there any positivity towards that amphitheater possibly coming, or is that just something part of the old plan and probably just no room for?
Well, see, that's a good point, because on the map they labeled, I think it's like C2 or something, one of the City Walk stuff, or C3. It says future destination venue for City Walk. But it's like that spot is right on where the Eastern Security Hub structure is being built right now, so that can't possibly go there, because that's not like a modified version could. But that's a good point for good reason to show that that map is certainly old and not existent, because literally something else is being built on the spot. That something else on that map is being proposed, and we can see it with our own eyes. So, not to say City Walk won't have any future destination or something like that in the future, but just not in that location, because it's currently being occupied.
Okay, interesting. Now, so Waterworld is seemingly safe, but the exciting part about all this news, and Wizard, you've been on my channel quite a few times talking about this, and on your own channel talking about this, where Universal Hollywood, it seems like Comcast is getting really bullish on this park. We're getting the hotel, right? The Universal Hotel. I remember you mentioning to me that they want to spend like $1 billion on new attractions and things like that.
Yes.
I mean, it looks like there's a lot of stuff happening for Universal. Like, what do you surmise is going on here in terms of like right now? What are the leading kind of rumors for what we might see coming into this park? Is there any kind of murmurs out there that suggest like certain IPs or whatnot?
I don't know. I'm not hearing any potential things of like IPs or things just yet. But back to the map, the things that are confirmed, that there's several structures, and this is, like I said, this is the exciting part for me, because there are several structures on this map that aren't built yet but are under the approved thing, and a lot of them are backstage studio stuff. But it's good because every single backstage studio thing that's built, that means they're relocating something for future theme park expansion. But I'm just glad that the hotel that I've been talking about for so many years, when I found the permit back in 2020, where did my camera go? 2023. Hold on, guys. This okay, is on the. Oh my God, sorry guys. I don't know why.
No, you're good.
Oh, you know what? It unplugged. Okay, but I'm still talking. But the whatchamacallit, the hotel's on there, which is great. They, once again, the plan says there's a second hotel, which that's the rumored spot for that is supposed to be on the where conductor was talking about the H lot where the two Halloween Horror Nights houses are now. And there's several stuff like the Western sets where some of them are just demolished for some by earthquake on the CO tour for some like a new mill, and it shows this map shows that they're coming back in a relocated area, which is pretty cool. Maybe a new studio tour route coming over there, which is nice, but it also creates a space for a new attraction. And then it shows the world's leaving for something else. So a lot of things could be happening. And another reason this map is definitely off, because it shows nothing for the Simpsons and it shows the building being demolished. But we all know that when the building's falling apart, and two, the whatchamacallit, the contract is coming up to an end with Disney. I know there's some rumors that maybe got extended or whatever, but even if it did, the building's still falling apart. So there's no way the building can still be on the map because they have to demolish it. So we don't know what's coming to the park, but it's exciting stuff coming to the park. And they're moving backstage up to make it happen, and they're doing it now, which is very exciting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Go ahead, Jared.
I don't think so. That rumor about the Simpsons contract, it could be true, as far as I can find. And it's no shade toward him. I don't know him from anybody, but it's Rick's Flicks had mentioned it in a vlog of his, and I think in the video he had said that a bartender told him that, but then he cut it out of the video. So that rumor's been out there. I don't think there's really much credence to it, but it doesn't make any sense to me. I
have no idea why they would do that. I don't hear about this, and I thought maybe it's just for Florida because I didn't hear much about it over here. So I was like, why do they want to extend it?
Well, I don't think that Disney. I don't know if Disney would even do it, considering they own it. They like to own their own stuff. So I don't even know, even if Universal wanted to, if Disney would. Because there have been some rumors as well that Pokemon may not be happening, which is a long rumor in Orlando.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that for The Simpsons, someone said that I guess Disney ran some surveys about where they want The Simpsons in their parks, and according to the rumor, the people who responded to those surveys, the guests coming out of Disney World, were so aghast by the idea they didn't want them anywhere, which led to a contract extension. Again, I don't know how true that is. That's another rumor. That's another reason of the rumor I heard, but I have no idea.
Yeah. Simpsons is a weird property for Disney. I think if they were to ever bring Simpsons to a Disney park, I could see it working in some capacity. Like I could see like a Treehouse of Horror sort of thing for Oogie Boogie Bash. That'd be kind of fun. But I wouldn't.
At Hollywood Studios.
Yes,
as like the only place it might make sense. But I don't think the Simpsons. I mean, I don't really watch the Simpsons, but I don't feel like they're as relevant as they were 10, 15 years ago.
No,
but it is. They do stream it. I mean, it is one of those higher streamed shows that's on.
I think on Disney Plus, it's one of the most streamed shows on Disney Plus.
It is. So
I can see in Hollywood Studios now they're kind of redoing. they're kind of doing that animation courtyard thing. I can see like an animation, like a more permanent station as an animation station or animation town with a whole bunch of animation properties and like a Moe's Tavern there. And that maybe be like the extent of the Simpsons area of this animation corner. And then maybe add some Futurama in there. I don't know. But like I feel like Simpsons would be good as part of like a fantasy spring style thing with animation where you have multiple animation IPs rather than just like Simpsons, and like it might mesh better up there. And maybe as a bar, since Disney World likes building a lot of bars, that could work. A Moe's Tavern, man, come on.
But at the same time, I don't think Disney would, considering I think at this point Simpsons is known to be a universal thing when it comes to theme parks. I don't know if they would pull the trigger. I feel like they would give it time, maybe. But I doubt. If
or
I was
maybe
that, I just don't think they would.
Yeah, I'd say no. I don't think they would do this. Never mind. I had an idea. I was like, maybe sticking on a cruise ship, but I don't know where it fit on a cruise ship. Unless you put a Moe's Tavern on the cruise ship.
Simpsons is a kind of a weird property. It's still hard for me to even wrap my brain around Disney owning that. Like there are certain franchises that seem to fit very seamlessly. Like, and some fans might disagree with me on this, but like with Star Wars, it always felt like a galactic fairy tale for me. Like in a galaxy far, far away, it presents like a Disney thing, kind of, right? Even Marvel, you can argue it's like, back in, the 50s, it was Davy Crockett and all that stuff and Zorro. And I feel like Iron Man and Captain America is sort of like this generation's version of that kind of hero. You know what I'm saying? But Simpsons, I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like Disney at all. It would feel kind of weird to have them in the parks.
It would be very weird if they're going to bring a Fox property into the park. I think they need to. It's Always Sunny. Bring that bar. If they're going to go full bar lounge, just bring It's Always Sunny and set that bar up there for.
Yeah, definitely.
Disney adult.
That's a great show, by the way. I love that show.
Dude.
I love that show. Yeah, it's great.
It's weird that Disney also technically owns that now too. That seems very strange to me.
It is, yeah. It is weird. Well, they picked up that Fox thing because they really wanted to like beef up the streaming stuff, But now they have to sort of justify the purchase, right? Because it was like 70 billion. Now they sold some of the sports stuff, so I think it brought it down to like 50 billion, which is still crazy. But now they got to like, okay, well, streaming isn't what it was like 5 years ago. So now they got to figure out what we're going to do. So that's why I think we're seeing Avatar come to DCA and stuff like this, because it justifies that Fox purchase a little bit more. You're like, oh, okay, well, we bought Fox, but we got multiple Pandoras out of it. We're I think that's kind of the play here with that. But
yeah, also don't forget Universal forced Bob Iger to pay an extra, what was it, 20 or 30 billion for it because they stepped in and like put in they weren't going to try and buy it, but they basically to pay more for it. I thought it was kind of
Oh, I'm telling you, Brian Roberts is a smart dude, man.
Oh, Mr. Roberts. Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, no, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing, So, that was wild to me. But now, Jared, you've never been to Universal Hollywood, correct?
I have not. I've looked at the map. I've been checking out on the Hollywood drift coaster coming out there because obviously I think that from what I've also heard, Orlando's replacement for Rip Ride Rockit will probably be Fast and Furious as well. But I've never been though. I haven't been there or Disneyland because I just haven't. I don't know. It's been a while since.
Hey, when you come down here, we're going to show you around, brother. Universal is a really, really interesting park. Now, we don't have the size or the scope that the Florida Universal parks have. But this park is really unique in the sense where it's real Hollywood. It's a working studio, very much. And there's so much history with that. And it's all kind of weaved into the theme park stuff. Right. And on top of that, it's on a hill. So. Well,
I just want to say I love escalators, so I think that's one great feature of it. But also, my wife's favorite movie is Back to the Future, so undoubtedly she'll want to go check out the studio over there where you still have Hill Valley, which is that would be cool to see. I am jealous of the fact that you guys still have Hill Valley.
Jared, I'm telling you that Fan Fest, and these gentlemen can definitely. I'm sure they agree with me. That Fan Fest, standing right there where they filmed that movie and having that scene projected on the courthouse was like insane.
That was breathtaking.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I think that the potentiality of Back to the Future coming to the parks based off of Fan Fest, based off of there's still, even in the Orlando parks, there's the merchandise, the parade, like all the stuff. There's still such a love for Back to the Future. I actually think, well, and there's a rumor, one of the rumors out there, I think it was actually from Lynn Tested, that in Orlando, if it is going to be Fast and Furious that takes over the coaster for Rip Ride Rocket, obviously Supercharged would then go away because it's terrible. And you're not going to have two Fast and Furious properties. But then potentially what would replace that would be Back to the Future. So I would assume if they did it out here, they surely would do it in Hollywood because you have Hill Valley right there. And you also have the same, Simpsons, and that could technically replace that. I know that's something that I was seeing online quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to have Back to the Future come back. Actually, I was talking on a recent video here on the channel where, like, if hypothetically they were to ever get rid of Waterworld, which is that's a bad idea, but if they were to do that, the only thing I think fans would be like okay with, even slightly okay with, would be like Back to the Future replacing it. Like if Back to the Future got like a next generation kind of attraction in that spot, yes, we would still collectively be pissed off that we lost Waterworld, but it would certainly mitigate the damage.
Yeah.
Because and being out here in Hollywood, I think there's certain properties, like I was telling Wizard, like Universal Monsters is like a given out here in California. Like
I would assume.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
and speaking of the monsters, just wait, because I think you'll be very excited for FanFest Nights 2026 for the monsters. If you like the monsters,
Wizard, you're such a tease.
Oh yes,
I told you that it would be like
buns.
like Dark Universe in Hollywood. Is that the thinking, or would it be a different type of land?
Oh no, this is just for FanFest Nights. So think about it would be like just for FanFest Nights, an experience. And let's see, I'll say, remember the fan tram for Back to the Future? Well, take that and maybe put it for Universal Monsters. We'll have to see. In Little Europe, maybe we'll have to see.
Wizard, dropping the heat. Now we do have a super chat from the one, the only, maybe. Thank you so much. All of the lights. There we go, baby. Let's do it. Let's do it. Love it.
Thank you, Troy Aston. I see here he became a new member.
Yes, Troy, thank you so much for becoming a member. We do appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining in the conversation today, talking all about Universal. But yeah, that's interesting, Wizard. And that's what I'm saying. That's why I think Waterworld is safe, because look how hard Universal leans into the nostalgia with this stuff, man. I mean, they're going hard with the monsters. They're going hard with Back to the Future. From what I understand, now I know One Piece was like the star of the show in terms of like FanFest, right? In terms of like merch and like just, but wasn't Back to the Future on those customer surveys and through like the merch and stuff?
The highest rated. Highest thing.
I'd heard that as well. I'd heard it, yeah. And I think if you look at merch sales too, I think they probably have all the feedback they probably need to figure out if they want to pull the trigger on it and actually do it. And I think I've been saying for months, I think if any theme park company was going to do it, it'd be Universal, because it is a risk. If you think about, like, it's a retro property there's no new movies, but I think that's the thing that helps it stay relevant. So you're talking like a 30-some-odd-year-old property that bringing back, but I think it would go over great at both Orlando and Hollywood.
And speaking of merch, by the way, I know One Piece did fantastic with the merch. But wow, I'm curious what the numbers. I don't know anyone working in merchandising, so I don't know the numbers. But just in this week alone, my goodness, the amount of Five Nights at Freddy's merchandise, it's hard to find nowadays. I mean, those little plushies came out last weekend, and I took a little Instagram post, and literally, I think they came out like 24 hours before I took the post, and just walking around City Walk, every other person had a little Five Nights at Freddy's plushie. I'm like, oh boy! And those red cups, they're nowhere to be found. But I have a couple. Thank goodness.
I have mine. I bought mine. You know what's funny? I asked a team member today, because I was hanging out with Tommy Toon World at Universal, and they said besides the plushies, the red cups, the other piece of merchandise, and this is for the actual frame picture that you could get the little individual puzzle pieces.
Yes, that was cool.
Out of the, I think it's 6 puzzle pieces, The one piece out of all 6 that's been selling out is the FNAF. And what's funny is, we went into the Universal store right outside the gates. I saw probably about, I don't know, 20 of them. We went into the park thinking, they'll have it in the park. Well, they didn't have the puzzle piece in the park, and it's Freddy Fazbear. And what's interesting, we spent about 2-3 hours in the park, went back outside, and we went back into that store outside the gates, and I walked over, and it was like a miracle, lightning in a bottle. There was one on the shelf. One.
Nice.
So I snagged it. I'm like, yes, because it's funny because the team members are like, I can't tell you how many people have come up to us and say, we can't finish the picture frame. We're missing Freddy Fazbear. And I happened to snag the last one on the shelf. So lightning in the bottle. I love it.
Universal has done a great job at actually taking these outside properties, whether it be Five Nights or whether it be One Piece or what have you. I mean, they're picking a lot of home run hitters. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, Wizard. Sorry, bro.
Oh, I was gonna say, my goodness, what you would call it? The Five Nights at Freddy's house. Now, Jared, have you been to Halloween Horror Nights yet in Orlando?
Not yet.
Okay. Because I didn't ask for comparisons, but at least in Hollywood, I know it looks awesome in Orlando too. But in Hollywood, this thing blew me away. My goodness, I never played the games, but I saw the movie. I really enjoyed the movie. But wow, the facade, the light, it has that little dingy light. It's like it's going out, abandoning, then it all of a sudden flashes and it goes out again. And then they have so many animatronics in the house and puppets, but actual animatronics and 8 feet tall. I mean, even if you don't like horror stuff, if you're just a theme park fan, that is the house for you. It's so cool. I was like,
can't wait. Happy to hear that the Henson Company worked on those animatronics or the puppets for that house. So I thought that was a good sign too.
Like OG, since you're an animatronic, I mean, you're a theme park fan. We're all here like animatronics. On Friday, I think yours is on Friday, right? It's on Friday.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you will be blown away. I think you'll be raving from that one. You'll come you'll be doing a live stream of like, Five Nights at Freddy's. That was pretty great. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait. 8-foot animatronics. That's almost as tall as Conductor. That's wild.
I know. God, giraffe size.
That's wild. But we got our good friend Mr. Seymour Duck in the house. Mr. Seymour, thank you so much for joining us. He says here, Seymour Duck, and I'll start with you, Jared. But he's asking, should Universal embrace more Asian cultures in the parks, anime and K-pop and whatnot? I mean, it seems like it's a hot thing right now.
I think they will. K-pop Demon Hunters that thing is insane how popular it is. And it's like been playing at our house for like a month because my daughter loves it, and it's actually not a bad movie. I wouldn't be shocked if you start seeing Universal do some anime. I mean, I think out at FanFest they had One Piece. You got a lot to choose from. But
I mean, here in Hollywood they have Chainsaw Man. That's an anime.
Yeah, if you could get your hands on K-pop Demon Hunters, you'd be printing money. But that is technically it's a partnership with Netflix and Sony. So I don't know exactly where those
Universal has partnerships. I mean, they work with Sony with Men in Black, and they're right. And they work with Netflix all the time. So I think it'll work out.
They could do it. If they brought that in, they're going to do sequels and more movies. So I think.
And they're going to do it. They're going to do this at a live action version, which it's funny how they already have that planned in. like, all right, I got to jump on the live action train.
And Universal has really had the cojones to do the anime thing. They had was it Jujutsu Kaisen Wizard?
Yeah.
In the Kung Fu Panda building.
Not only that, they're probably lazy too, but it's still cool, pretty bold to literally have the Japanese version in there and make everyone read subtitles. Like that was insane. Apparently with Chainsaw Man, it's the same thing. They just have subtitles and they're speaking to you in Japanese, which is pretty insane for an American park. Because ask lazy American people to read, it's like bonkers.
No, it's true. No, that's why I was saying it took a lot of guts to do that. And I was like, wow, this is pretty dope, So I think Seymour, to answer your question, I think they will, and I think they already have. I think they're really going to embrace this. I think that Universal has seen, especially with One Piece, right? I mean, that thing printed money for FanFest, and actually One Piece as an attraction, a permanent attraction, there's a lot of potential there too, because you can make that ride, Universal's Pirates of the Caribbean, basically. You know,
Definitely.
I mean,
Yeah.
that
I
would
just
be
wonder
insane.
if they would dedicate an attraction, or if they would dip their feet in first with like a show or something. You know, like I think it would work, but I could definitely see them being a little hesitant about what, because I think when it comes to anime, a lot of, especially these big companies, they're kind of getting there where how popular it is and how much of an appeal it is, especially to like teenagers and the younger crowd. But it's also hard for them many times to wrap their head around it. So I'd be shocked if they announced like we're building a whole land or attraction, but I could definitely see a show coming first and then seeing how that goes.
Yeah.
And then, you know, within like 5 to 10 years, I think you could see a lot more of it.
Because I know that the One Piece show in Japan is pretty popular, and I guess we'll see how it does if it comes here on FanFest night. So that'll be pretty good. And also another character who I haven't heard of until about 2 weeks ago, this Hami Kuma character, this big, ugly but kind of cute bear that made his debut at Halloween Horror Nights yesterday, and I took a lovely picture with him. My goodness, the line for him was crazy. It filled up in seconds. I don't even know who this person is. And and not only that, my Instagram post, every post I make about this dude soars in viewership. So
Nice.
that's another Japanese type of character. So a lot of people know Japanese culture. I don't, but I really like the Japanese culture. I don't know how people know all this stuff so fast, but you know, internet and children, huh?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Wizard, between the Japanese, the South Korean K-pop stuff, it's really blown up right now, and I feel like Universal has gotten a head start with it, with some of their decisions already, and Disney's really behind with this, man. I mean, I don't really see Disney doing the anime thing. I mean, Kingdom Hearts.
There's any way. I don't think there's any way unless they bought it. They're not.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Do you think? Yeah, so I was gonna say, like, Disney. I feel like they're very hesitant with anything to do any third-party stuff. But do you think they'll ever change the mindset, or no?
I think if Disney did it, they would do it in like 15 years. I don't think they would be like a first adopter. They Disney typically is they're going to do stuff that's more safe. If you look at like how technology, what they say, first adapters, and then it eventually catches on. I bet you if Universal does it and it's successful, you would then see Disney try and acquire, which is kind of what they do out there. Because if they're not going to put it in the parks, if they don't own it, is my guess. I mean, Pandora was a one-off, and I think they did that because of the Wizarding World, and they happen to own it now, but they didn't for a long time. But yeah, I just wouldn't count on Disney doing it. I think Universal will do it in some fashion. I just don't know the timeline.
Well, see, here's the other thing, and you make a great point, Jared, is, you know, if they did something like that and they waited 10 to 15 years, and that's just a hypothetical number, but let's say they do wait that long, is it something that's going to be relevant that far down the timeline? And on top of that, any of those IPs, putting those into Disney parks that's mainly catered for families and kids, they would have to dial back and skim down that IP compared to Universal that can have a broader view on it. Like, they can allow certain things that a Disney park can't allow, like some violence and whatnot, and Disney can't really do that. So when OG makes a point, oh well, Universal's probably going to jump on that, I 100% believe that, because they have the capability of taking risks, and most of the time it pays off. So
Universal is far less risk averse than Disney. Disney is very safe in a lot of ways, which is sad, because look, Disney was built on Walt Disney was like the biggest risk taker on the planet. Okay, this guy was like, I'm going to mortgage my house to pay for this. Like, he didn't care. Roy Disney was constantly stressed out.
Dude, he had, honestly, in the time he did it, he had no business doing the stuff he did. Like, it was almost, you could say, foolish in his behavior of how he went about it. So yeah, I mean, Walt Disney himself was not afraid of risk, but the company, you know, this is kind of what happens when companies reach maturity in many ways as well. Like, they're just going to become more defensive. I actually think you'll see Disney more than likely would do something with video games like Fortnite before they would even touch anime. Because I think Disney's just now realizing the popularity of video games, and you're seeing Hollywood start to do a lot more video game stuff. I don't see Disney also dipping into video games and anime. I think anime is that thing where they would be like, what is this thing? I think they would do video games and then maybe down the line, but I don't even know Fortnite. I'm not saying they couldn't, because look at Minecraft. I don't know how you made Minecraft into a movie, but they did. I don't really know how you would do Fortnite in the parks or a movie, but they'll probably try, because what they spend $2 billion to get into Epic Games.
I believe so. Seymour, if you're still in the chat, you might have the exact figure, but I believe it was around there, Jared.
Yeah. So it wasn't a small change. So they're going to do something, I think, beyond just having their own little Disney Fortnite verse, whatever they're going to do.
Yeah, because that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of moolah. Well, Ben Zacuto here. Thank you so much, Ben, for being a member too, by the way. Appreciate you. But he says San Francisco, albeit small and not a full land or attraction, is a pretty decent representation of Asian culture at DCA. Is it not? No, it is. It absolutely is. It totally is. And that might be the route Disney goes when it comes to Asian culture or what have you, is more like this kind of Disney version of it or whatever. Maybe not anime per se, but like Big Hero 6 and things like that. I think is the most likely.
By the way, speaking of stuff they should do sequels on, that is one. That was a great.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Outside, I will say I have a big critique about that movie. You guys have all seen the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
How the brother dies is absolutely idiotic. He runs into a burning building and then the thing explodes like there's a bomb in there like 5 seconds later. I'm like, okay, come on. Like, that are the ways to do it. I was like, that could have been a better death for him. But overall, that movie is great. And it is kind of anime light. It's like Disney's version of it because it's got a lot of influence in it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Rogue Attractioneer makes an interesting point. And by the way, Star Wars Visions is an amazing show. It's some of the best Star Wars we've seen since Disney bought Star Wars.
I love that show.
It's incredible. But Star Wars Visions shows Disney is okay with dipping its toes into anime. That's interesting because it would very be out of a
Disney version. I think that's exactly what they would do, is adopt an IP they have into that style more, because I don't even know if the Japanese company, if you could even buy it. I don't really know how those Japanese companies work, if they're even open to being bought out, considering their fan bases that they have.
Yeah, well, it would be kind of cool to do like a Star Wars Visions like projection show in Batu or something, right? Like,
yes,
that would be sick.
Anything extra in Galaxy's Edge would be a plus.
Oh, absolutely. Exactly. It needs all the help it can get. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Mr. Seymour Duck says Disney owns 9% of Epic Games.
Okay, I knew it was about 9 to 10%, somewhere around there. Yeah.
That's significant. There was
a report that Epic was getting frustrated with Disney, kind of dragging their heels on the stuff that they're supposed to be developing for the Disney version of Fortnite. I think somebody from Epic came out and said that wasn't true, but there was multiple reports saying that they were getting, because I think it's been almost 2 years now since Iger announced that, and nothing has come of that.
Well, we know a little bit about
it's been 2 years or 3 since Iger announced Avatar, and
that's true.
I mean, Iger just doesn't announce stuff for the stock price at shareholder meetings. He would never do that.
well, and that's the thing too. We can dip into a little bit of this Destination D stuff. I was it's like I was frustrated. I mean, I think Florida got a good amount of news for that event, but Disneyland Resort, I mean, come on, you're going to come out there and you're going to talk about the Napa Rose patio, and that's literally the only thing Anaheim got. Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
I mean, it's like it's horrible. I mean, you have Avengers that's currently going vertical. You have the Coco ride, which is going breaking ground, I think, next month or something. You certainly had something you could have brought to the table.
It's okay, OG. They'll just announce that stuff before or after the event, like they did, like do all the time.
Yeah, exactly. They'll do that, and then we'll hear news weeks leading up to freaking D23 in August of next year, and then
we'll get it all about 2 weeks before it happens. Then on the D23, when if they hopefully it doesn't go back to the Target years, if they brought out the Target man, and hopefully it's more like last time.
The Target man. Well, hey, Josh Giamaro has the CEO spot in the bag. If we see the Target guy come out again, he's feeling pretty comfortable if that happens. You know what I'm saying? But that's wild. But the Rogue Attractioneer said Disney did release Gilby for a long time too. That is true. That is very, very true.
I think them doing it for streaming and putting it in the parks is probably a completely different situation, if I were to guess. But I don't even know where. I mean, I guess it would fit more in potentially in Disneyland than it would Disney World. But I don't know. That would be very interesting if they went that route.
Yeah,
I will say.
no, I agree.
D23, I've been saying I was surprised at the things they did announce because I was saying for a long time I didn't think they were going to announce much, and I actually think they should get away from these big conventions announcing all this stuff, and the fan base just wants kind of the newer stuff all the time. But it was kind of interesting at Disney World. They announced like the launch base stuff, and then Destination D23 happened, and then after Destination D23, they announced all the closing timeline for D4 and Dino Land. So
and don't forget,
but
before Destination D, they announced the Thunder Mountain stuff and all that stuff.
That's true,
but not on it.
And the Buzz Lightyear, they're doing like Spaceship Earth's getting a refurb to some degree.
And I'm like, and they did it like a week before. I'm like, why can't you just wait a week? Like,
Disney is really weird.
Official parks panel. You could add that's a whole parks panel right there. Like, I don't know.
see the other thing I told George on his live stream the other night was, I said, why couldn't they add a third day to that event? And literally they can have it where they give current, they might announce a few new things here and there, but they show progress on what they announced at D23. Because if you think about it, everyone that is a Magic Key holder and a D23 member, gold member, and then you got people that go to Club 33, and then investors in general that don't go to the park, we're all investors. So it wouldn't be such a bad idea to add an extra day to Destination D23 and just give updates and show actual footage that, what they're doing with these projects that were announced at D23. Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to hold Josh tomorrow close to the fire. When he publicly comes out and says, we are moving dirt, I want to see evidence of it. I don't care if you guys have to give a monthly progress report online showing pictures, video clips. I don't care. Because if you're going to justify me paying $8 for a damn water in your park, then I want to see investment. Okay.
No, you're right. You're right, conductor. And that's been the frustrating thing with Disney with this stuff. And here's the thing. Disney has this D23 thing, right? Sure. And it's the gift and the curse in a lot of ways. It's the gift because it generates a lot of hype, a lot of buzz, a lot of headlines, but it also forces Disney to make announcements early because people want those announcements, where Universal doesn't have Comcast Con or whatever. So Universal literally announces these things when they're like halfway done already,
Well, hear me out. I've been on this bandwagon for like years now. I say when Disney comes out, like this last D20, they announce all these things. All these things are 5+ years away, however long they are.
Sure.
It is impossible to maintain a level of excitement for that long, because then the next one comes on, they want more things. The way that Universal does it, I'm betting right now they're not going to announce what is replacing Rip Ride Rocket until it is probably about a year before it opens. Then they're going to announce it. They did the same thing for Epic. It is not very difficult to maintain excitement for a year because you can actually plan trips in that frame of time. And then I think the concept art looks closer and you have actual legitimate hype running up into these things. I think it would be better for them to get away from it. I just don't know if they feel like they can, because I don't know how the fan base would react if they're just like, by the way, no more huge announcements at D23. I think they would just be so fearful of the backlash they would get.
Maybe they would. Maybe they'll take it a little better now after today's news. I don't know if you saw what Scott Gooston said that at D23 2026 there'll be no vendors. The whole show floor will be gone. Like, that's gone.
Really?
He's taking that away for next year's D23. So,
did they say why?
No, they just said it won't be available. So there'll be no show floor, no vendors, none of that at D23 2026. So,
that's weird. That's really weird. Well, Joe Gons here is asking, are D23 events, are they even profitable? I mean, I would imagine, Joe, if they still do them, they probably are.
Yeah, because they sell out every time, so I'm sure they are profitable. Especially the Honda Center was hundreds of dollars. Yeah.
How much of it costs them to rent out the Honda Center?
Yeah.
But I would assume that they probably are.
Well, see, that's something I hope, because I think I clarified it with Wizard a while back. Before COVID happened, Universal used to do something very similar to D23. And I hope, I hope they bring something. I hope they bring it back for the Universal side, because if we're talking about every 2 years that Disney does the D23, I don't see why Universal can't do it every 2 years, because we've all seen, whether it's out here in Hollywood or out in Orlando or even their international parks, they, for whatever reason, they pay the right people to sit there and get the right crews to build these lands, to build these attractions, to, you know, do it in a reasonable time frame. So I could see Universal bringing that back.
Yeah.
I really could.
I actually hope they don't, but I could see them do it. They get a lot of buzz off of it, but yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they did.
Yeah.
I personally think that if Universal would do it, it would be more relevant than what Disney is doing every 2 years, because at least Universal, when they build a attraction or a new land, they can execute it within 2 years, maybe 2.5, maybe 4 years tops.
Right.
And if you're doing an event every 2 years, they can come out and say, wow, we're going to be opening this new land at Hollywood this winter. Here's some sneak previews of what the land looks like, what the ride looks like, what the merch, the characters, and all this stuff. And they could be justified with it. Disney, when they do it, like when next year for Avatar, or like for D23, they might say, oh yeah, we're just getting shovels in the ground right now for Avatar. It's like, you announced that 2.5 years ago. What the hell?
Oh, I know exactly.
Shovels in the ground?
Well,
Come on, man.
Well, real quick, Wizard's gonna be leaving us in a second. I just want to say real quick, I want to insert this little joke real quick. You guys ever see Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey?
Love Interstellar.
Amazing. He comes back after like 85 years and they're still building this shit,
Yeah, all right.
It's crazy.
Interstellar, I saw it before I had kids. If you see it after you have kids, totally different movie.
Oh,
I have a daughter, and like I was little, I do not cry, and I was like, oh, okay, I gotta walk away from it. Like it's such a good movie.
It hits you. But we're gonna continue streaming. But Wizard has a hard out. But Wizard, before you go, I just want to make sure you let everybody at home know where they can find you on social media, where they can subscribe to you on your YouTube channel. Also, Wizard, I want to say really awesome news today about that KTLA shout out. Really proud. This guy, Wizard, man, he works his butt off. He does a lot of great content. Everybody watching, go and subscribe to this man right now. Wizard, take it from here.
Let's do it. You can subscribe to me on Theme Park Wizard. You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, especially for Halloween Horror Night stuff. Get ready, folks. Get ready. And then you can also check out my website, themeparkwizard.com, for smaller stories and more. And I'll be going on a cruise this weekend, so I'll be live on the cruise on one of the days. So check me out, because it'll be sailing away like the sweet life on deck.
There we go. Oh, actually, here, you know what? You're going to be sailing. Since you're going to be sailing, I got a little something to send you off, Wizard. There you go. Wizard, it's always a pleasure. Have a good
Later,
one.
Wizard.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, everyone, make sure you follow Wizard and subscribe to him on YouTube. He's an amazing dude, does a lot of great content. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy, this D23 thing, and I mean, it kind of, it's a gift and the curse. It bites him in the butt sometimes. Sometimes it's, I don't know. We'll see what kind of happens. But
everyone was kind of disappointed, at least on my channel. Our audience was like, they didn't announce anything for Villains. I'm like, because Villains, I don't think is going to be done until sometime after 2032. And I'm like, they're talking about showing, we went on a field trip. Here's some pictures from our vacation. Here's what we're inspired by. I'm like, they're still at a very early conceptual point of this. Yeah. So they're, and now the big question will be, do they start building Villains Land alongside Frontierland, or do they wait till that is done and then they start? And it's so far down the road. And don't get married to that concept art they released, because I do not think it's going to look anything like that concept art they initially released last D23.
I want to ask you. I want to ask you guys a question. Jared, we got just a little bit here with the architecture field trip thing, right?
Right.
Were you encouraged, or neutral, or less optimistic based on what we were shown with that?
I don't know if it was enough to even to really have an opinion. I mean, the stuff they showed was very villains like. The what they call it, they put a term to it, conjecture or something. They created some term to describe it. When it comes to Disney stuff, I'm just sort of let's see when we have more stuff, like what's the final product look like. I think from everything I've been hearing as well is they have a hard needle to thread trying to make it work for kids and for adults. I don't think they really have a full a concrete plan yet. So I don't think there's really enough to really be encouraged or discouraged. And it's so early in the process. But I do think the thing that is encouraging is they have a lot of pressure, because if they don't deliver on these lands, and especially Villain's Land, and I think Villain's Land is the one that has the most potential. What's up, Webba?
Webba in the house.
Make an impact, and they can't have a swing and a miss. So I think in terms of the pressure they're feeling, you would hope that they are up to the challenge to do it and understand the position they're in.
Yeah, I like the architecture stuff that they did show us. I think that's definitely the direction I want to see, that kind of gothic sort of,
And
so
they had Dr. Facilier. I mean, he's going to be part of this, which is very interesting because he wasn't part of, some other stuff they wanted to do.
Well, yeah, they didn't put him in Tiana's, and we heard, I don't know if it was official or if it was just rumor that Disney felt he was problematic or something.
It was rumored. It came from that group that they disbanded that went around the parks and found stuff they didn't like and needed to change. They said it was the voodoo aspect of him that they didn't want to feature him, but it doesn't make any sense either because he's in the Halloween parties and he's going to be in Villain's Land, which he's a great villain. So, I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. Conductor, were you encouraged by the architecture field trip, or it doesn't matter?
So I'm intrigued by it. So at least they're showing that they're doing research, but like Jared made a valid point. It's in the very, very early stages. We might not see it completely, like Jared was saying, until 2032. That's still years and years and years away. Meanwhile, you got Universal Hollywood, and you got the Disneyland Resort. Well, I shouldn't even include Disneyland Resort, but Universal Hollywood and Epic Universe, their parks are going to completely be different by the time 2032 comes along. Meanwhile, you got also Great Britain that probably will be built by then, and on top of that, probably already be ready for expansion to that park, because we've all seen it with Epic Universe. They're already expanding, so again, it's great that Disney's showing progress, but the problem is, how can you justify raising prices every single year if it's going to take you more than 5 years to build these lands? Now, I get it. Once the land's built, if you want to upcharge, be my guest, but don't sit there and upcharge when you have multiple attractions closing down. You have new lands that you announced at the last D23 that's going to take over 5 years to build. Meanwhile, you got your neighbor and your competitor next door, Universal, building entire theme parks by the time you build one land. So it's like, what the hell is this? Obviously, I know Epic Universe probably took about maybe close to 10 years, but they really didn't say anything until the last, 4 years, 5 years? They kept it hush-hush for if it was 10 years, but they were planning behind the scenes. I'm fine with that. But when you're a company saying, oh, we're going to build this, and it takes you that long compared to your competitor that keeps their mouth shut, and then when they're ready to start actually putting shovels in the ground, they say, look, here's the evidence. We're putting shovels in the ground. This is the timeline. We're going to get it done, and they execute. Am I missing something?
No, you're not. You're not. Yeah, it's crazy. Brandon Green here says it took Joe Rohde several years of field trips to conceptualize Animal Kingdom, so Villains is still in the incubator. 100%.
Yeah,
100%. And my thing, Brandon, I like the field trips. I like the fact that they do the research. My issue with the field trips, though, is they use the field trips as an announcement. That's my problem.
I think I told you, OG, it's like back in the day, you go on a vacation, you got to sit through like an hour and a half of a slideshow of like, this is us in front of this statue. And you're like, okay, Cool. Like, it's really hard to build
Yeah.
and be creative in public. I think
Yeah.
that's the thing that I think they shoot themselves in the foot with that, because you know, if we're all going to build something and we're kicking around ideas, some ideas are going to be bad. But doing that, you're going to be like, oh, no, what Conductor said is cool. Let's take that. But when you do all this in public, then you're also having your ideas, and then, well, what do the people want? What do they want? And instead of you creating something that you're passionate about, I feel like they feel the pressure to, well, now we're on a timeline for this. Now we got to do this. And I agree with Conductor. I think if you did more of this in the dark, when you actually are ready for this stuff to go, and then you announce it, and then you're like a month later you start building, that's a different story than you're going to have 2 D23s, if not more, of updates about Villains Land coming up probably. And it's just, at some point it just becomes like, how do you can't maintain that level of excitement, and then people can turn on that and get annoyed by it.
See, that's the thing, though. That's the difference between Disney and then Universal. One of the things that I find very interesting, if not awesome, is Universal won't say nothing. They'll just start building it, and then we're at the theme park like, what the hell are they building?
Mm-hmm.
And then once they're like halfway, maybe 3/4 of the way building it, then they announce it. But see, what I like about Universal, though, and just the company in general, when they do announce something or it is rumored, they never give a price tag. At least until the land is open, the attraction is open. Because if you tell me, for example, like the Fast and Furious coaster at Universal Hollywood, if you told me 2 years ago it's going to cost, I don't know, $20 million, and I know that's just a random numbers, but $20 million, but yet it doesn't look like a $20 million attraction, it's like, then why did you even say anything? I'd rather you didn't say a number, just build the damn thing, and just keep tight-lipped about it until after the attraction was built.
You know, a friend of the channel, Jay Shear. We all love Jay. He's awesome. But he's been beating the drum about the Disney PR for years, and he's absolutely correct. Disney has a really rough time with this.
They've always had a PR problem. It's so weird. Yeah,
it's crazy. Big Sam is here. I want to thank you, Big Samus. I love your profile pic, by the way. Tailspin was an amazing show. When Villains Land opens, will we no longer see villains in Fantasyland? You know, that's an interesting question. Based on the Galaxy's Edge thing, where like I thought we wouldn't have Star Wars in the rest of Disneyland because we have this 15-acre now Star Wars land, but we still have Star Tours across the park, right? I think we're still going to have villains in Fantasyland. I think Disney doesn't really care, and we've seen it with Star Wars, so I think we'll still see the villains in Fantasyland. What say you, Jared? Do you think we'll still see them in there, or nah?
That'll be interesting. Probably. I don't feel like they're going to mess too much with what people know about Magic Kingdom, so I could see that. My wife, I think it was my wife, or I don't know, on our show we were talking about this. It could be a cool idea if you have the Happily Ever After fireworks show, but in the Villains Land you have a like polar opposite nighttime show going on there. That's like the dark side of it. Yes. And then that could potentially spread out crowds as well, where you're not congregated in the hub. So they could do some stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know if they would. There's not a ton. Ian Rogue's right. There's not a ton of villains in Fantasyland to begin with. So if they did remove them, I don't know how much it would affect stuff. But I don't. That's a good question. I don't know exactly what they would do. I would assume they would just leave it. But
no, well said. Mr. Webba in the house says, stop announcing how much you're spending. Just freaking build it. Tell later. Yeah. Exactly.
There we go.
Exactly. Now
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, and like, look at Rip Ride Rock. It's a great example. And I think it was Brandon Smith said it's fun to speculate. Universal kind of leans into the speculation because we're all sitting here being like, what is Rip Ride Rocket's replacement going to be? And then it's fun to do that stuff. Whereas you can't really get that with Disney. The only speculation you have is the concept art going to look like the finished product?
Exactly. You know. Now, Rogue here says, because Universal gets a pass. Now, here's the thing, Rogue. I've been saying this for a long time, right? I think Universal, by and large, does get a pass from the fandom. Disney is like, it's the complete opposite. Disney is very much under the microscope. But here is the thing. I do feel, and I'm curious what Conductor and Jared, I'm curious what you guys think about this. I do feel this is changing. And I think because the Universal fan base, Universal has made a great product over the past 20 some odd years now, right? Since IOA, really, I think is when the Universal golden era has really kind of started, right? Where they started to really be a serious competitor. I think you're starting to see more and more of this like passionate fandom start to get a little pickier. We saw the pizza box thing with the Pizza Moon. Remember that whole thing? That was like 2 weeks of drama online over fucking pizza boxes, right? So it's like I do feel like there more and more that is creeping in. I also think if this is a huge if, and Wizard really made a good case to be made that they're not going to remove Waterworld, but if they remove Waterworld, I think you will see a backlash that Universal hasn't seen in my lifetime. I think it would be a lot of pushback on that. Now, do I think that's going to happen? No, I don't think they're going to remove it. But anyway, I do agree with you for the most part, Rogue. I do feel that Universal mostly gets a pass, but I think the times are changing. Oh, what say you, Jared? Do you kind of get that vibe too, or am I off base?
They've had a pass for a bit, but with more expectations come more pressure. And I agree. It will shift where they, especially after Epic, it's going to shift a ton where they just you're expecting more. You've seen what they're able to do, the Wizarding Worlds, Epic Universe. So I guess you can make an argument they have, but it's just been. I guess you would just say most people look at it as they haven't expected that level of what they've been doing. But yeah, I think it'll shift going into the future, just because it's growing. People are going to expect more. It's like a fan base with a sports team. When the sports team's not that good, whatever. Draft picks aren't that big of a deal. When you're good or you're contending, and then you trade away a player or whatever the move is, man, you want to talk like you think theme park fighting is bad. Like, man, fan bases will go crazy about that stuff. So I think it's kind of the natural progression of a growing brand is that part of it too.
100%. What say you, Conductor? What do you think, man? You think Universal gets a pass, or do you think that's changing?
So it's interesting because I've always thought Universal should get a pass, but now looking at it, we've all said it, the theme parks aren't perfect, whether it's on the Disney side or Universal side. They've both made mistakes that are not the greatest. But when you look at the two companies, and again, I'm going to compare it to the construction. When they want to bring a new land, a new experience, just new entertainment, I just kind of feel that Universal fits that bill. So, do I honestly think Universal should get a pass? I don't know. I'm favoring yes, but on the other hand, again, we'll have to see what Disney comes up with Villains Land, with the two new attractions at Avengers Campus. Then you got Pandora. Then you got their international parks with Lion King, the new Tomorrowland. So it's going to be really interesting. But for now, my vote is probably going to be yes. Universal does get a pass because they put out a great product, and what they build for the average everyday Universal guest. I'm sorry, I'm going to just call it how I see it. Universal Disney is actually shaking in their boots when it comes to their Villains Land, even though their Disney villains have been around for forever, and there's a lot they can do there. But when you compare it to Dark Universe, which is right down the road, they have a lot to think about, and I don't know. I just don't know. It's a big question mark for me. I would love to say that Universal doesn't get a pass, but at least for this moment, I think they do get a pass, as long as this new speculation map that was put out by a user on X about the evolution plan, which we've all agreed, even Wizard said it was old. As long as they don't touch Waterworld, because we've all seen it. How many news companies come out and say that Waterworld is one of the best live action stunt shows in any theme park around the world? And the fact that it gets that praise for based off a movie that's come out over 2 decades ago, even longer than that, and the film did not very well, but the stunt show is amazing. It's like if they
Well,
touched Waterworld, that would be the most absolute stupid thing to do.
yeah.
Absolute stupid.
I think also some of it comes down to of the how it's perceived by the fan base of the effort given.
Oh,
And I think Universal, for being a huge company, one of the hardest things for any company to do is really try and figure out on the ground floor, what do people want? And I think Universal, for being a large company, does a pretty good job of trying to stay in tune with the fan base. So even if they're going to make mistakes, I mean, every company, every business, every theme park will. But I guess it comes down to, do you feel like they're making an effort in the right direction? And I guess you could say, is that giving them a pass, or is that just being like, hey, this was a swing and a miss? Like, for instance, Supercharged. It's a terrible ride. I don't know how that ride ever got. I want to know, like, on certain things, like the final ride through, and they're just like, yeah, let's go with it. It sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're like, okay, that was a swing and a miss. Villain Con, not great, but Epic Universe is awesome. These other things are awesome. So, like, it comes down to getting a pass, or do you have more? Does your fan base view you as trying? And I think that maybe comes down to Disney and Universal's difference, where many times Disney is kind of tone deaf to what the audience wants, much more than Universal is, at least for now. That could change, but for now.
Well, see, here's the other thing, Jared, and you make an excellent point. When you have annual pass holders, or in Disney's case, Magic Key holders, I kind of feel that Universal loves to listen to their annual pass holders, loves to listen to their investors, and they love hearing opinions. Disney, like you said, is kind of like culture shock. They get opinions. They don't really cater as much to their Magic Key holders that Universal caters to their annual pass holders.
Mhm.
So I kind of feel like Disney's like, oh, we heard the news, but we still don't know what to do. And then on the opposite side, you got Universal. Oh, we hear the news. Man, we're going to really do some research on that and maybe bring that to life. That's why, like, look at, for example, look at FanFest Nights, a brand new event that just came out of nowhere, and it was an absolute hit. On IPs, especially Back to the Future, which has still to this day, 40 years later, still has a strong fan base, but they use that as their Trojan horse for the first annual FanFest Nights, and it was a success.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're leaning Comcast, Universal. They're leaning into nostalgia, and it's a smart decision. Disney has leaned into their nostalgia, and it's really paid off for Disney. And Universal finally woke up and said, "You know what? We got this great library. Let's lean into this stuff." You know what I'm saying? Rogue Attraction here says, which is bigger following, Monsters or Disney villains? I would argue, Rogue, right now, I think the villains. I think the villains are like it's $1 billion franchise. It's like the princesses, you know what I'm saying? But I think people still love the Universal monsters too. And I think Universal has done a good job, because look, I'll be real with you guys. When they first announced the lands at Epic Universe, I was on here. I was on here on my channel I would have debates with Vash Sky about this. I would say, Vash, it's a 100-year-old franchise, bro. I don't know how relevant this is going to be with the normies. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And he was like, nah, dude, trust me. And he was right. I mean, honestly, I think they've handled it really well in cultivating interest in it with Dark Universe, right? It got me on that hype train even. So I think that the Rogue right now, you're right. The villains, I would say, are the bigger franchise, but I think don't sleep on the monsters. I think Universal's just getting started with this. I think it's going to get bigger. Go ahead, Jared.
Well, you can see Universal do a reverse thing that you normally don't. Usually you see a movie show, then go into theme parks. You can see they're kind of revitalizing the monster IP in the parks, and you could see them. Now, it would be difficult. I think there is a new Frankenstein movie coming out that I've heard actually is pretty good, but I don't know if Universal is looking to do more, create their own Monsterverse or whatever. But you could definitely see people love Dark Universe. It's a fantastic thing. It's a very unique theme park land. I've never seen anything quite like it. And I think you could definitely see the momentum continue to carry, especially as they continue to develop that land, and maybe they do other stuff with it. But I would agree. I think villains is bigger. I mean, you talk about like how long have they had villain in Disney movies and things like that. But I think a lot of momentum right now is on the Universal Monster stuff, plus Halloween Horror Nights and all that stuff that they can throw in there with it. They definitely have. I guess you would just say it's a. It's weird to say about an old IP like that, but it has a lot of new interest in it. Fresh interest, I guess you could say.
I will say, yeah, absolutely. And I mean, honestly, the Disney villains is keeping Hot Topic afloat. Let's be real.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So it's a powerhouse. It's a powerhouse, and staying afloat in retail is a big deal, right?
Well, look at Lilo and Stitch. How much it make? I think now it has surpassed Star Wars and Marvel for the most, like in terms of licensed apparel, clothing, toys, all that stuff. And the movie was huge. And Lilo and Stitch's original cartoon came out in like 2000.
Right.
And so it has a lot of staying power. And just because something, and I think that's one thing that theme parks are learning, is just because something is a certain age doesn't mean there's no interest in it. Like our daughter is obsessed with Lilo and Stitch, like loves it.
Sure.
And it seems like all girls ages 8 to 12, just Lilo and Stitch all day long. And it's just, it's very interesting to see.
Yeah. So, well said. Go ahead, Conductor.
I want to answer because Sam chat posted a couple comments about Waterworld. We just had Wizard on for the first hour, and you know he's a great source of Universal news, especially out here in Hollywood. He was even saying that Evolution Plan picture is from way back in the day. I think someone even posted it was from 2006. I saw online. So I'm like almost 95% sure they're not going to close Waterworld at all, because Universal Hollywood and all the Universal parks would be very stupid to do so. And I even think Great Britain will probably put a version of Waterworld in their park, because every Universal park has Waterworld in it. So I do not think they're closing it.
Orlando doesn't.
Oh, they don't? I thought they did.
No,
wow.
Really?
I know Japan. I know Japan has it though, right? I think
Japan does.
Japan does, and I swore Singapore does. I swore they did, because I know Japan has it, because there's actual footage of people watching the show, and in the background you can kind of see the Super Nintendo World hills, and
cool.
So I know they have it.
Well, Carlos Vasquez, thank you for joining us, sir. He says here, he goes, hey, I think Universal is trying to maximize how they generate profit from their limited space. And we do have limited space out here in California. Believe me. I mean, it's tight. Limited space with food and merch, and Waterworld doesn't have that like the rest of the park. I mean, that's a fair argument to make. Waterworld is not a huge IP. The stunt show is popular, but the IP isn't. So I could imagine the case to be made like, hey, you know what? Yeah, people love the show, but is it moving merch though? Are people buying Waterworld hats, mugs, glasses, popcorn buckets? Probably not,
Right.
So I kind of get what he's saying, but and Jared, when you eventually come down here, you'll see how tight it is. I mean, Disneyland Resort is tight, but it's way more spread out, and we still have quite a bit of room to kind of work with still, especially after Disneyland Forward. But Universal is way tighter, man. I mean, you're on that hill, and it's really hard to. They got to really get creative to squeeze in any kind of acreage. You know what I'm saying?
My wife's been out there before, and she was telling me, she's like, it's way smaller than you even can imagine, just in terms of like you being used to Universal Orlando. She's like, it's much different park for sure.
Yeah. And Brandon here says, Singapore does. The recent refurbishment for Hollywood's version borrows a lot from the Singapore version. Oh, that's interesting. So Waterworld had a recent refurbishment, I guess, out here. That's actually good news. That's encouraging. So
I heard the rumor for the Great Britain park is a James Bond stunt show.
Yes. I love James Bond. If they officially announce that, I could tell you what, I will move heaven and earth to make it out to Great Britain to see that. I kid you not. I love James Bond.
Yeah, that would be cool.
That'd be cool. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining. I want to also thank Theme Park Wizard. Everybody at home, make sure you follow these fine gentlemen. I'm going to be linking everything down below, so it'll make it real easy for you to subscribe to them and check them out. If you're watching this on OG55, make sure you subscribe to them as well. They are family here, and we love them. Jared, if you want to give all the deets in regards to where they can find you, sir.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. It's always a fun time hanging out and talking with you guys, and good to see Wizard as well. At Captain Magic here on YouTube and all the socials. Probably Instagram is one of the most active at, but I'm on. If you message me or see me on X, it's not often. I don't like to argue with strangers and potential bots all day long, so I don't really get on there too much. But you can also, if you want to check out, if you want some tips for Universal Orlando or Disney World, CTM podcast with my wife and I, you can check that out as well. And that is where you can find all my wares. And thank you for having me. And it was a great time as always.
Absolutely. And speaking of Capture the Magic, there's a great merch store, CTM Apparel. I'll be linking that down below as well. If you use OG55 as a promo code, you get 10%. They got a lot of great nerdy shirts, theme park stuff. Got that cool Mario one with the question mark. So really cool stuff. Make sure you check it out. And if you use OG55 as a promo code, you get 10% off. Conductor
shirts right there. I got the Mario one on right here, actually.
There it is. He's rocking it. He's rocking it.
I love it.
And Mr. Conductor, Mr. Choo Choo, if you let everybody at home know where they could find your hot and steamy theme park news.
Absolutely. I'm Theme Park Conductor. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok at Theme Park Conductor. You can also find me on X at Theme Conductor. You can also find me every Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Conductor Sunday live stream, where I have these amazing guests like Jared from Capture the Magic, which is no longer in timeout. I forgive him. Orange Go 55. George the Disney Italiano from Citrico Central, Theme Park Wizard, Tommy Toon World, and so many others as we break down Universal, Disney, HHN, the whole 9 yards of theme park. And I actually allow the chat to kind of take over a little bit, answer questions, and we kind of just steer the direction wherever it goes. So it's a lot of fun. It's a blast, but definitely stay tuned to Theme Park Conductor on YouTube and socials, because for the next 3 days, starting tomorrow, I will be at Universal Studios Hollywood for HHN. I will be joined by Orange Go 55 at some point on Friday. So we are going to be living it up. I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. And then also, I'm going to be at the Disneyland Resort every morning from tomorrow all the way through Saturday morning. So if you see me in the park, please come say hello.
There he is. And then before we go, we're gonna let Mimi Fan close us out. Now, if you're a Californian, right, and you look, I mean, we have a lot of locals out here in California, and you're looking for a cool spot to eat. Mimi has you covered, all kinds of Korean barbecue places and everything. So you can check her out on Instagram. Look at the great food, amazing stuff. So check her out on Instagram. She's also got a YouTube channel, brand new channel over there. So make sure you subscribe to her on YouTube. I want to thank Mimi Fan for doing this amazing outro for us. I want to thank everybody for watching this episode of OG50.
Thank you so much for watching OG55. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and become a member today. Mwah.